I would like to should be same.
So with some, maybe where's the book?
So, iQHAWE is a digital publication that aims to merge the gap between young aspiring creatives by providing a platform for them to showcase their work. We do this through digital content, events, as well as the publication through issues. And what we basically aim to do is one, kind of like bridge that gap that exists between the creators and also ensure that we provide them a platform that showcases what they are, what they do, and where they are at in their careers.
Mhm.
And we also, so iQHAWE is housed by iQHAWE Media, which is an agency that does content for different emerging brands. And we've been around for about 4 years now. I run it with the beautiful, amazing Anastatia and Nguni. And my role with Qhawe magazine is that I'm the editor-in-chief. She is the vice editor, and our roles within Qhawe Media is that I'm the chief, I'm the CEO, and Anna is the chief of strategy and marketing. So I hope that sums it up.
No, it does. And then you guys are busy preparing to roll out the 13th issue. If you could tell, if any of you could tell me about the journey from the inception up until this moment, and if you could maybe highlight like moments that stand out over the 4 years.
So I think I'll answer the first because I think it's like two questions in one. The first is the 13th issue and how that came about. I mean, we were quite fortunate to have funding from the Arts and Culture Department. Can't leave them out. It was a long time coming, so it took a year to put this together. Obviously, it's government funding, it's procedures. It takes very long for the admin to come through, but we wanted to do it and give back to the creatives that support us. Everyone on the production team for issue 13 are creatives that have been there from the beginning, from the beginning of the 4 years. They are iQHAWE, they rep iQHAWE, and they want to take us to the future. And that's the criteria when it came to, getting them on board, which is why iQHAWE started. It's the home of African creatives from all walks of life. We don't discriminate. We don't, other people. It's just a space for you to still continue creating and express yourself with no judgment. And yeah, the process was very lovely. Everyone had, to create a mood board, put their ideas together. There was no like, no, this doesn't work, or no, this stay in your lane. No, it's like we all had to come together to see it happen. Namhla was our stylist, Retang was our photographer, and Renaé was our creative director. So
I saw she was moving that day.
Yeah. Telling people not to smile, to be serious. We really need that because we're such creative energies. And imagine if we don't have someone that is very, who understands the holistic vision and has like a plan to take it forward and keeps us in control. Because even I had to be kept in check. Because, we need to move fast. So yeah, in terms of the 13th vision, the vision is exactly the same as what iQHAWE Media is all about, which is to be the home of African creatives.
Dope, bro. And what's in a name? Like, I know iQHAWE. I don't know if it means if you guys went for the same meaning or if there's another meaning I don't know of. But from in my culture, iQHAWE is a hero, and so a lot of heroes on that day, guys. Like, like what's in the name and why those particular like fine artists and visual artists on that day?
The name is that it's iQHAWE. It's a hero, and it can be directly translated in any language, and that's the future of iQHAWE. Is that we want it to be a media company that can be translated into any language, in any location. But in simple terms, those were our heroes. Like those are the heroes of our decade, if I can say. Those are the heroes we are seeing, constantly creating through it all, rising through a lot of challenges that they face in the creative industries that they participate in. The economical background that they come from is very telling of what a hero is and what they stand for and what they're constantly fighting for. They all, have different identities, and we love that they're so unique and so special. And that's what a hero is someone that constantly wants to be fighting to be represented, and celebrated, especially. So iQHAWE, the meaning is that, and we every time we have an idea, we want to see it through. We want to create a pedestal for a hero to be celebrated and seen and supported as well.
Yeah. To add on what which I think is important. I think for the longest of time, heroes have been seen as people who are like very far, right? So people who we aspire towards, like your Superman, your whatever, right? But it's never like the people who you see around you working towards making a name for themselves.
True.
And they may not be where they want to be, but they are working really, really hard to get there. So our kind of like thinking behind who we select for issues, who we work with, is that who is around us, who's working really hard, and who do we really believe in their career, we believe in where they're going, and they don't have to have reached a certain level of success for them to be put on a pedestal. You are who you are, whether you have done amazing work or just, you are amazing because you've done really amazing work. It has nothing to do with who has given you the skill to say, yeah, you're doing it. So really accessing our peers and making sure that they are aware of who and what they are is very important to us.
Dope, man. Like I like that sentiment. It also gives like space to introduce new faces. You know, when you watch TV, you see the same actor on Generations, you see the same actor, you know, so I like that energy. It's like something that I always strive for, to find the middle ground and bridge these worlds, because we all can coexist. And then I want to get to my favorite part, the visual team. So I want you guys to I guess everyone contributes to the bigger picture of visuals. And I think that's one of the things that stood out for me when I stepped into the set and I saw that everyone was delegated like a sector of the project. So I guess I'd like for you guys to speak maybe to the planning, the production, speak to the role, speak to the mood board. Like I saw a lot of mood. Man, you guys like really impressed me, like high end. Like I kept on telling Tippy, so I'm like, bro, did you see what was happening there? Like young Black people doing stuff. And I'm not saying using Black just because it's a popular thing. Personally, I've never seen that. Like I've never seen an energy like that. So I'd like you guys to speak on that. Didn't see any egos, man. It was very cohesive. It was beautiful. And I'd love also in the same breath to encourage you guys to remain like that. You know, sometimes when you go into spaces, it's like, ish, do I talk? Do I hide? But I didn't feel that at all, man. So I'd like for you guys to speak to that, and just like a hats off on that point as well to you.
I'll talk about the people that have come before me in the industry, like as photographers, tend to be very intimidating, right? Because we get there, we have our big lights, and they tell you, no, you need to step on the X, and you need to move. So it's like it can cause a sort of kind of disconnect, right? So a person who you come into a set that's supposed to be this free, very open, very welcoming space, but then you're not being welcomed, and that affects everything. It affects everyone. It affects the creative director when they're trying to say something to talent to create. It affects the styling team, for example. If I'm a shouty person and I'm saying, the color's not fine, you know, it's not, even if I say it like in a gesture, like in a playful way, it doesn't quite, Lord have mercy. I'm so sorry. But then this kind of me dispelling that was me opening myself up to, because I don't usually work in like a team this big. So it's like opening myself up to working in the team. Also, it's a vision that we are all sharing in. So it's very important that we all feel like we have more than just, oh, I'm the one that put the clothes on this person. I'm the one that put that leaf of grass or that blade of whatever on top or whatever. It makes it feel very cohesive. So hence why we were kind of encouraging everyone to come up with their own treatment, with their own brief about what do you see out of this thing. The brief is words, right? The brief is just like, hey, we want to create this forest of possibilities. How can you interpret it? And where do you see your fingerprint, your stamp into this world, right? And it's all about creating these like sort of cohesive worlds. You know, I'm also me personally, I couldn't have done it without my team. I couldn't have done it without my assistant. I couldn't have done it without the people that were holding me down to say, okay, we'll light this thing on Friday. We'll get there, you know, even down to the projector gents that came on Saturday, couldn't have done it without them. It's all like this cohesive sort of team building thing, and it's an ethos that's not, as you mentioned, it's an ethos that's not quite felt and seen in the industry as a whole. And it would be nice if we just keep that going.
Yeah, no, certainly, man. Yeah, sure. Namhla? Yeah, they didn't touch on the clothes, bro. Like, there's like maybe you could speak from like a perspective of why the designers that you chose to select from.
Okay, so when I got the brief, I had to introspect on what iQHAWE meant to me and what iQHAWE has been. Like, I had to take it back to the speech that Renaé made when it was the first event, I think, in Newtown. And like, she mentioned how this was like what iQHAWE was about, which is what they had said, that it's about like Black creatives, well, not necessarily Black, but like it's about creatives that are doing something and that are actually pushing. So I had to look at, in the perspective of like fashion, I had to look at who was doing that for me. And I had to look at, who was actually, the underdog. So I had to look at like Long Season, I had to look at Thabo Khubele and like all those designers that actually help support the idea and like what iQHAWE is about. So yeah, that was the process behind it.
Dope, man. And like, I've always wondered, like, in terms of styling now, how much collaboration goes into, or rather between the stylist and the person that's being styled?
Yeah, first you must pay me.
Maliak funny.
Let's probably start being creative. So to be honest with you, I haven't done styling work that requires like conversations like that. So I'd come up with the concept, and this is what I see for the concept. As the person that I'm dressing, is like, okay, this is what I'm seeing, and this is how I want to dress you. And to be honest with you, I'll hear what you have to say about it, and like if you're keen, but like it's okay if you're not keen. But it hasn't been like a conversation where, oh, how about we can do that, but that's not the approach. It's like, this is what I have, and this is what I chose you because I was seeing you in this, and what do you think? And then we just take it from there.
No, I got you. And then the set, like, there was the very green, very lush. Where does that come from?
It comes from the flower market. Shout out to Zara. And again, it's that power of like collaboration and talking. And there are people that have done it before, but you are just doing it in your own way. So we saw people do like your JFF, who have supported other creators in bringing their green plants visions to life. I don't know what to call it, but it's just the forests, the gardens in spaces where you wouldn't even find that. So I remember hitting up Sandy there, who's also one of our artists featured, and I was like, hey, because also Sandy is one of the people that I worked with on set when I was also, dabbling in art direction. So I'd assist him, I'd pick up a TV here and there, but then it's like, hey, Sandy there, I know you're good. Where do you get this and this and this? And he's like, and here's the address, figure it out. So then you get there and you're like, okay, it slowly comes together. I can't even say like it was like a one-day thing where, you get this and then it's all together. It's like, it took a number of times. I work full time, so it even took Qhawe and Renaé going to the place, seeing, does this work? And then I have like 50 pictures of like plants to choose from, and I'm like, guys, I just want a plant. That collaboration that happens, that relationship that happens, where they also become part of the vision. The plant that I chose, they didn't bring, but it looked beautiful, and that's part of it. It's like, okay, your vision is what picked this plant, and I'm gonna make it happen. Like, okay, you want more plants? Okay, I'm gonna go steal from people's gardens right now because we don't have plants and it's out of our budget, So it's like that thing of like, you have to set design and art direction is you create as you go along. You trust the process as well. You talk to the photographer and say, please, can we cheat this? You also, because you have that experience, you know how to approach. It was like a very open set, I would say. And it started from the set design. Like, it was it was literally a forest. It was grass, it was nature, it was very grounding. And there was no reason for someone to not feel at peace being in that environment. And I think that was what I wanted to bring to that piece of creation. Shout out to Azza. Azza was also one person that was very supportive in terms of figuring out how we're going to bring this to life. Because I think I was very anxious when it came to the set design, because it just felt like we're doing something so big with very limited budget and very limited funding. But she was also that person who was like, we'll make it work. We'll make it work. And when I got there, I was still very anxious, but because she's there first, and then I saw that she had already figured out how things are going to work. She had plastics laid out on the floor. I was like, and that was also a lesson to me to delegate. I suck at delegating. So I had to say, you know what, I need to allow people I need to trust them and allow them to live in their power as well. And that was very nice for me to know that there's someone that's always going to help me when I can't be there, to fulfill the vision.
Certainly, man.
Design on us. Yeah.
That's dope. And just like the last point, which is like off kilter from what the topic is about, I've also noticed that you guys like collaborate a lot with events, whether it's setting up, I think, an interview section and speaking to the musicians there. I really love that. Like, I think I always feel like in South Africa, we don't like push, like, you watch stuff like sometimes Vice and ID and these things, and like, yo, bro, the content is crazy. So I like the fact that you guys are not just limiting yourselves to online, but there's interaction with the actual people that work at iQHAWE. You can find them at events. It makes you guys feel real and relatable and accessible. So like, has that been something that you guys have been doing from the start, or like, what's the vibe there?
So here's the thing about us, right? So Anna and I are always trying to like do stuff. And by do stuff, I mean, whenever we'll have ideas, we think we can do anything. So we'll always want to like experiment and see if things can be done. So if tomorrow we woke up and wanted to start a medical practice, we would. So with events, right? We're just trying to think around, okay, we have this brand. These are like so we have, like the content pillars that we have, but how can we take this to like take it up a notch a bit? Because it's one thing to have a digital audience, it's one thing to do this and do that, but it's another to fully like go full circle and understand where you can tap into in the physical space. People are always liking, people are always sharing, but all these people attend your event, will they pay, will they get into an Uber and take a bus and come to your thing? So in 2021, we're trying to like figure out how do we pivot to just not exist as a digital publication, but rather a full-on agency that does really amazing things within the space. So we started dabbling with the concept of eventing through our initiative, which is namaQHAWE. We're trying to provide a platform for so the initial idea for namaQHAWE is to get women who are struggling to pivot within the industry a platform for them to showcase their work. So we're going to your FNB art fairs, we're going to really big established platforms, but there isn't enough representation, particularly of young emerging women creatives. So we're like, now we're going to start our own thing because that's what we like to do. And we broke it up into industry. So we started with music, we did art, and then we did film. And then with the idea being a kind of like a full all-encompassing showcase of everything. And what we learned throughout that process is that if you trust and believe in your vision, it will happen and people are going to support you. And I think the most important thing with that also is that we don't market or like collaborate above, we collaborate across. So every time we're like, okay, who do we know? Who's our friend who has and what's not? Who's our friend who can help us with this? And then that we can create a really beautiful ecosystem, which I think will be important towards young emerging creatives' career growth, because people are not competition. These are people that you can work with and help grow your career. If you need a DOP for your set, don't be trying to DM some person you have no proximity to. Try your friends, work within your communities, and that becomes a better and more efficient way of growing your career. And that's literally what we've been trying to do. So if you look at the people we've collaborated with, it's literally across people who are doing amazing work, but also are in proximity with us. And that creates a really beautiful ecosystem. And it's something that we really look forward to growing over the next few years.
Dope, man. Yeah, I'm not going to keep you guys for long. I think in closing, firstly, thank you so much for making the time. And I know there's a launch coming up. I'm not too sure what the date is, but when the edition does come out, what's the feeling that you want to leave us to leave like with when we put or when we close the tab? What do you want us to say? Like, well, what words, like what feelings are you pushing out? Like it can be the photographer that answers as well.
You're right.
I think the one thing that I would like everyone to take away from this is like light.
Light. God,
There's nothing better than light.
I saw it, bro. I saw it. Like lights. Yeah.
Light is everything for me. So yeah, it's just like light. And it makes you think about things in a different way than how it creates.
For me, I think I say this in the editor's notes. The one thing that I would
Why is everyone scared, Renaé? You leading with the whiplash? She leading you guys with the whiplash. I'm scared.
Guys, it's not that deep. I promise. Okay. Guys, whatever idea that you have, create, man. Like execute your ideas. It doesn't matter whether you want people to stand on top of the roof. It doesn't matter whether you want things to fly in the air. Just create the thing. Just do the thing, man. Get your friends. Do it. That's all.
I'm also gonna be very like sentimental. Grow, like just grow from whatever you've experienced and expose yourself to. I mean, it's green, it's a forest, so grow from learning from other people's experiences. I think that's the main thing. The issue is 17 artists sharing where they come from, being vulnerable as well, like reading what our content producers have written about these people. They are vulnerable. They deal with real issues, mental health, trauma. Like they deal with so many things, and they have to also figure out their identity in figuring out their careers and how to monetize. So it's a vulnerable issue, but there's so much good in it, and to see those people in their glory, just shows you there's so much potential for growth.
Bro, I saw it. I believe it. I know it. For real, bro. I saw it. I left there. Felt like church. Okay.
Yo, I think I'm gonna take this back to when Renaé reached out to me about like 17 outfits. At first it was 20.
Hey,
I said no. No, this is impossible.
This is the first time.
Impossible, literally. So I took that in. I think when she first told me about it, like I had to take it in. And what I'll tell you is start. Like just start. I think after she told me about the brief, I got into it like straight. I started like looking at the outfits, looking at the people that I'm gonna be styling. And then that helped me, eliminate pressure and all of that. So starting takes you like just start, and then everything's gonna pan out the way that it should.
Dope. I totally agree with that, because sometimes I too can procrastinate, but when I start, I metro zoom. So I believe in that.
You just cruise.
Certainly, man. Thank you so much for your time, guys. And I hope I can get access to the 14th edition behind the scenes. I want to be a part of this till it goes, it rocks, Rolling Stone vibes levels, because it's already there. Yeah.
It's on the 5th.
5th of March. Okay, cool. Yes. Sure. 5th of March, Hallmark House. Cool. So music on that day, performances, or?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Everything.
Music. art,
Sonic experience.
Kudliwa.
fashion,
Hi, Retang.
food.
Kudliwa.
I see again.
Mina ngilapha.
Pertinent questions, bro. Yeah, Udliwa.
Make a plan. Make a plan. Programming.
Real things. 5th of March, tickets are available.
80 bucks.
It's just 80 baht.
80 baht.
Not bad.
80 rand.
Yeah.
That's a meal.
Just 80 bucks.
Just 80 bucks.
And a trip thing. You need to charge a premium for what we just
Oh, wow.
Oh, bro, yeah, you need to charge a premium, man. And I love that you placed the price on the event because reality is, guys, touches move. When we do these things, we spend money. So some way or another, it has to come back. So shout outs, like keep pricing shit. Thank you so much again for your time. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. And I hope you guys enjoy the launch. I'm sad I'm going to miss it because I'll be in Cape Town, but yeah, I'll be there online looking and crying. FOMO.